Thank you for joining us today for Innovate Pasadena's Ask Me Anything session. And today we have Jason Barquero, who is the Career Center Director at Pasadena City College. And he is joining us today to talk about how PCC can help companies benefit from a local talent pipeline. So we're really excited to talk with Jason. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Beth. And hi, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I can get started, and I'll introduce myself and tell you a little bit about me here in about 10 seconds. So bear with me here as I do that. Hope everyone's having a good morning so far. And all right. So thanks, everyone. Thank you, Innovate Pasadena, first of all, for having me. I'm very humbled to take over one of your AMAs here, so to speak. And so it's really exciting. A little bit about myself. I promise I won't spend too much time. Jason Barquero. I am the director of the Robert G. Freeman Center for Career and Completion here at Pasadena City College. My quick elevator pitch, wouldn't be a career person if I wouldn't do what I tell our students to do, which is you have your quick pitch. And so for me, I've been in higher education for 16 years now. Most of my time in career development. I spent a few years in alumni relations at one point. I've been at PCC for a year and 4 months now. I started a few weeks after everything shut down in April of 2020. So I feel like I can write a book about how to transition into a new job under COVID. And so it's been exciting and interesting, so to speak, over the last 16 months or so. Prior to that, I was at Otis College of Art and Design. I've worked at Occidental College. I've also been at the Claremont Graduate University too, as well, not too far from here, working with graduate students as well. So it's a little bit about me. But enough about me. I know you want to know about our center and a little bit about how we can support you in your talent acquisition needs. And so I thought before I answer some of those questions, it would only make sense to tell you a little bit about our center, show you some photos of what it looked like and how we engage. And so our center is relatively new, by the way. Our career center, we cut the ribbon on our center just a little over 2 years ago in May of 2019. And so we actually were going into our first full academic year in 2019-2020. Everything was rolling and we were busy about 3/4 of the year until, of course, the pandemic hit. And, this brand new spanking building that we had to come to a little bit of a close, unfortunately, in terms of physical space. But of course, we've been helping our students virtually throughout the year, and it's been very exciting and successful. But here to the right, you can see some photos of our full-fledged center that we have here at PCC. Our mission statement, as you can read there, it is simple, though. It really is to bridge academia and industry for students and alumni. And that's what we try to do here. Our group of counselors, advisors, myself, is to engage you all, bring industry in, engage with our students, to bring those two together, right? What we're doing in academia here, along with industry, to give our students a competitive advantage and internships and eventually jobs as well. So kind of a quick, who do we serve at a glance, just so you know a little bit about our center. And so this is data from our very first year as we were moving in, and we'll have new data soon. But our full-fledged year where we're mostly in person, we engage with a total of 7,275 students here. That's a pretty large amount for a career center. We have a lot more students than that. We have about 25 to 27,000 students at any given time. But those were our touch points, over 4,000 appointments, career appointments through our center. Employer relations, we had over 1,600 in the system. We're well over 2,000 now. And so we had about 142 recruiters in our annual fair and in our first year come through PCC. We also engage with our alumni through a new platform. So those of you who are PCC alums or know of PCC alums in your community, send them our way. We have resources to help them out and engage them with the college. And of course, we spend a lot of our time engaging with faculty through almost 200 presentations throughout the year, both at our center and in the classroom. So our center and our staff is very busy in engaging with the entire community, inside and outside the campus. What does the center look like? This is really a structure of our Freeman Center. We have 4 main areas. We have our career advising and career counseling area, where we're helping students not only navigate the exploration process at the very beginning of their career here at PCC, but also moving into where we're advising them and providing them the job preparation skills, getting them ready for part-time work, federal work study, internship opportunities, full-time work. And so we'll talk a little more about that. Employer engagement, that's what we're doing here today as we're engaging you all. And so I'll dive a little bit into that with your questions, I'm sure. So we do have job developers that work with our employers as well, our operations team. And then finally, our Office of Work-Based Learning. And they highlight in yellow because that has been a growing office within our Division of Economic and Workforce Development here at PCC, which our center is under. And so they focus on internships, experiential learning, and working with industry as well. Quickly, I always like to show, as folks ask, well, how do you get students to where they are before they get to me, right? Before they get to us, what have they gone through and what kind of training can I expect? Well, outside of the classroom, in terms of career development, this is really our formula. We believe in exploration, the enrichment, the experience leading into a career and completion when they're quote unquote done with PCC, right? Although many folks come back, and being a completer could be that you've gone on to transfer, you've gone on to work full time, whatever that career goal as you go through your experience and finish your experience at PCC. But we really take a deep dive into exploring the students during their first year and their second year to explore what are the things that they want to do. We really want to make sure that students are making informed decisions, because if they're making informed decisions about their career, they'll have a better experience in your work site as well. And at the same time, we're working with industry to help our students explore and make those decisions as well. And that's where the enrichment and experience piece comes in, right? So we're helping students as they're deciding also to prepare them for the world of work, and hopefully with an experience opportunity where they're doing on-site visits, hopefully an internship, cooperative opportunities, and so on and so on. So I briefly wanted to kind of give you an overview of our work here. In terms of recruitment and how we engage, I'll power through these pretty quickly so we can get through your questions here soon. But we're engaging with employers in a myriad of ways. We do work with business intermediaries. We do work with Innovate Pasadena. We've worked with other boards as well around the LA area. We have an online job board called College Central that we can talk about a little bit better also, that our community engages to post jobs. And that job board really becomes the hub where our students are posting their resumes, our students are updating their profiles, and they're viewing the jobs that you're posting. So we're making the match through College Central, which many local community colleges are a part of. We work with our faculty, as many of you know, and some of you yourself may be faculty at a local college or university. Many of our faculty either are connected to industry and or are still working in industry. So it would behoove us not to be working closely with our faculty who are providing us with leads and opportunities and connections to opportunities for our students. We're doing our own outreach as well at the Freeman Center. We have 2 full-time job developers that are working with industry to connect you to students as well. And through other partnerships throughout the college, as we're working with the foundation as well, other friends of the college, and our business council here at PCC to engage the hiring community. We often get asked, well, if I connect with PCC, what can I expect? How are we engaging with employers? What happens? And so this is a quick rundown. We really look for 3 major buckets to really engage our employers in the community. Career education, on-campus recruitment, which is probably what many of you are familiar with when you're working with local colleges, and academic partnerships. And so through career education, we invite our employers to be a part of the process. So one of the neat things for us is when an employer not only just posts a job with us or tells us, hey, send us a batch of resumes, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. We can do that. But what we would really like to do is engage with employers in the community with a meaningful experience where they're partnering with the college, with our career center throughout the academic year. And the way we've had employers do that in the past, as you can see on the checklist there to the left, is through providing their own series of career workshops, volunteering to interview our students to prepare them for job interviews, doing resume reviews and hosting resume days where we have you all and alumni and folks from the industry come in and provide that expertise to our students. We've had organizations do soft skill trainings, resume best practices workshops, and just having guest speakers be a part of it. I always like to tell our hiring community, because they ask, well, isn't this all what you all do, what your advisors do? The answer is yes. Our team does all of these things throughout the year. But it's one of those things when mom and dad tells you to do it, but if the neighbor tells you to do it, it reinforces, right? What your kids are saying, like, well, wait a second, I told you the same thing. Why are you listening to so-and-so? That's how we engage industry. If we can bring you on board, it's not just the same face. It's not just Jason telling the students, do this, this, and that. It's now industry saying, hey, this is what you should be doing. This is what should be on your resume. Here are things you should say in an interview. It's incredibly valuable for our students when our industry is involved. On-campus recruitment, yes, we do job fairs. Yes, we do internship fairs. We did some virtually over the last year, so that didn't go away. We do information sessions where our employers can spend 20, 30, 45 minutes to talk to the students, just as in a setting like this, like I'm presenting to you, but get students excited about your business, about your organization, and get them to apply for your organization. We do provide resume referrals. We used to do on-site interviews when we were on-site, and so hopefully we'll get back to that again at some point, but we can do those virtually as well. And finally, through academic partnerships, we've had some organizations like Lifeline Ambulance or SoCal Gas or Kaiser Permanente who have offered, and some have supplied actually different types of training programs. And so many of them have developed curriculum for their own employees that they've volunteered to share with current students. And it's been a great and valuable partnership. Kaiser, who I'll highlight for a second, so if you have anyone from Kaiser here today, has been a wonderful partner here locally over the last year or so, especially with our Office of Work-Based Learning, who has focused on working with our Office of Work-Based Learning and providing our students with a lot of the things that I have outlined on the left in terms of career education. And so it's been very, very valuable. Finally, last slide, and then we'll open it up. I always like, I'll pitch this again at the end, but I do ask everyone to stay connected with us. There's really 3 ways to stay connected with us. And one, I encourage you to visit our website. We do have our own Freeman Center site at pasadena.edu/academics/career center. And we'll have a lot more information on that. We do have an Instagram page, and we invite employers to be a part of that as well, to see all the cool and exciting stuff that our students are doing and we're doing. And also on LinkedIn, our center is on there as well. So I wanted to make sure that you had that, and I'll put that up there at some point today again. So apologize if that was a little fast, but I want to get to your questions. And so I'll stop sharing my screen here for a second.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. And I do want to remind everyone in the audience that if you have a question for Jason, go ahead and type it in the Q&A. Or if you can't find Q&A, you can use the chat. But feel free to ask your question at any time, and we'll try and get to you. And we did allow folks to submit their question ahead of time when they signed up. So we do have a few from the audience already here for Jason. So I will share those on the screen right now.
All right, so I'll jump in and I'll read some of your questions. How does PCC break through the myth that everyone needs a terminal degree to be a knowledgeable and/or skilled worker? That's a great question. I think PCC, among many other colleges as well, I think we try to do a few different things to try to break that myth. I think the first thing we do that's important, and not just a career center, is we partner with our outreach folks here at PCC. And outreach is high school outreach and outreach at other local schools. Having those conversations early with the community, and by the community, I mean with parents, with high school counselors, and with the students themselves prior to them attending or making a choice on a college. And we're hoping they choose PCC when we're out there talking to them. But we're having those conversations with them to demystify exactly what that question said about terminal degrees and needing a terminal degree. Having said that, now terminal degrees are defined as could be doctorate degrees or master's degrees and what have you, right? And so, and it's not to, I always like to preface, is not to knock anyone's four-year degree. I'm sure many of us on here have a four-year degree like myself, and some of us have a master's degree, right? And there's value in all of that. I know there's another question down the line as well about, I think, differences in 4 or 2-year degrees. But what we do is having those conversations early when we talk to people before they enroll at PCC. I think that helps the community as well. But also bringing in industry. When I talk about bringing in industry, it's really, really important because many of you and many of your experts within your field that are engineers, that are plumbers, that are nurses, that are accountants, we want them to be a part of the process so that they're also helping educate our prospective students and our current students and the community in general about what a terminal degree can get you, what a 2-year degree, what a certificate degree can also get you, and how far it can get you. Another thing that we do is, and I think the college has done, I take no credit for this, this was there beforehand, but one thing the PCC has done, if you visit our PCC website, the college has done a great job through a partnership with MZ. And that is providing these great tools, amazing tools, and you don't even have to be a current student. You could use this tool to go in there and play around with, what are your career goals? What would you like to do? Going in there and typing in all kinds of information, and you'll get up-to-date data on salaries, job titles, what you can do with a 2-year degree, a certificate, a 4-year, a master's, in any given field, right? So it allows folks to go in there and play around with that and do some searching. But it also allows us as educators that when a student or your student potentially comes to us and meets with one of us, we can have a better conversation, right? And go over those things and have those conversations that are very educated and informed about, what salary and what type of role will get you where, depending on the type of degree that you're looking to invest your time and your money in, right? And so there's a lot of things that we do there, but I think having that tool on our website that provides up to the minute data, industry data on just about everything. I mean, everything is on there is key, because then it's not just hearsay, it's not just Jason thinks or believes, but it's data coming in, and the college has invested in that and connected that to have those conversations with students. All right. So how does PCC work to match students and grads to companies' hiring needs? Great question. And so we do a few different things when we do that. The first thing we do, if we're working with you, we always love to do an intake with our employers. That's very, very important to us. And so, yes, we do have a job board. Yes, if you went to our website at the Freeman Center, it'll say, hey, go here, post your job and do all that stuff. That's great. But what we really also encourage our employers to do, even though we do want them to post their jobs, is to have a conversation with our job developers here on site, or have a conversation with myself about what is it exactly you're looking for that maybe doesn't come through all the time on paper, right? Job descriptions are job descriptions and they can only go so far. But what we do at the center to help out is we help our employers also have better defined and clear job descriptions. We help them also in clarifying their messaging that they would like to send out to students. And trust me, it makes a big, big deal. And sometimes we'll catch things at the Career Center that as a hiring manager, you won't think of, perhaps because you're busy and you're doing all kinds of things all day. And so we're catching certain things for you to help you better communicate to students, to help you better find your match. And it really does make a difference when you speak to one of our professionals here. The other thing we also do is we work very closely with our faculty. I've always been a big believer in working with our faculty. We have about 200 different programs at PCC, and I'd be lying to you if I said Jason is an expert in all 200, right? I am not an accountant. I am not a nursing student. I am a career services professional that knows a lot about a lot of industries. But who knows more about any one particular industry than our own faculty and our deans? And so we work with them closely. We leverage that knowledge. And oftentimes I'm a big fan of inviting them into the conversation with some of our employer partners who want a longer lasting partnership. Because again, to go back to that question, it'll help you as an employer better match what you're looking for with the type of student that you're looking for to fill an intern opportunity or a part-time or a full-time opportunity. So it takes a couple of extra steps to do that. Last thing I would say is we also really rely on our industry advisory committees, industry advisory boards here at PCC, as do many other colleges. If you're on one, thank you. If you're not, I would highly encourage you to engage at PCC or quite frankly at any college or school that you feel a partnership with. But here at PCC, it means a lot to us because we're getting a lot of on the ground, up to the minute, real-time advice from your groups, from your organizations, from your subject matter experts that are telling us, here's what your students need to have on the resume. Here's what they should be learning in the classroom, right? And so that will help us also better match the needs of the hiring community. I hope that helps. All right, so next question. As a manager, what differences might I see in a candidate from PCC versus one from a four-year institution? Ooh, that's a tough one and a good one, right? to answer, but I like that. The answer is, I'll give you the big answer and then I'll kind of go weed down a little bit. It depends. And no one ever likes to hear that answer to this question, but it really does depend. And I'll give you an example. So if you're an accounting student, right? And say you're interested in accounting and a student walked in and said, well, what's the difference between, an accounting 2-year degree and a 4-year degree? We'll say, well, it really depends on what your ultimate goals are. So we have students that'll walk into our office and will say, well, I would love to work for PwC. I would love to work for Deloitte. That's my goal, to get into an accounting division within that. At that point, we would advise the student, obviously, to take accounting as a major, but also look to transferring to a four-year degree. Because as we all know, Deloitte and those organizations, they will require a four-year bachelor's degree for an entry-level position within accounting at a larger firm such as that, right? In auditing and in those kinds of areas. If a student was interested in accounting and their goal is, well, I'd like to get into bookkeeping, maybe work for a smaller shop or a mid-sized company or mid-sized business or a family-owned business, then definitely, right? There's a lot that you can do with a two-year degree or a certificate in accounting where you can help a business or help an organization within their bookkeeping operations or what have you. And so, yes, those are the kinds of conversations that that we love to have with students, because again, it really depends where they want to go. And we'll have honest conversations about what the industry is looking for. However, back to that example, do we have students interning at PwC? We have. Absolutely. We've had students here and continue to have students here at Pasadena City College that intern at large, big firms that you would find in downtown LA or anywhere else. So internships is the key. So the larger organizations will definitely take our students, because our students, there really is no difference. If you're a rising junior from PCC or rising junior at another school, you're still probably taking the same amount of classes and the same types of classes at this point in your college education. And so for internship opportunities, I would say there really almost is no difference. Once you get into the 4 years, then of course you've taken more classes and it depends on the organization. But in terms of salary and what have you, if I'll take another very popular program, there's nursing, right? And we've seen that maybe 15, 20 years ago, having your RN was enough. But most hospitals will tell you in clinics that they are looking for BSNs, and they're looking for folks that now have their bachelor's in nursing. Can you do very well with an RN and associates in nursing? Absolutely, you can have a very good career and make a very good salary. But we're finding more and more hospitals and clinics that are looking for students that are going into their bachelor's of science in nursing. And is the potential to make more there? Absolutely. So there's some industries and some, I should say, organizations that are very lockstep in your education and what you're going to make. I work for one. Colleges and universities are very notorious for that, right? And so they'll pay you for your amount of education. So it really does depend. I hope that helps answer that. And I think I was kind of going into this next question a little bit here. We know we pay more for a master's degree or higher. Is it common for there to be a salary difference for two-year grads versus four-year grads? It is common, but there's something I also want to demystify here a little bit. We've all seen the data. We've all seen for years and years and years. You look at graphs in the news or in articles that say, this is what you make if you have a high school diploma, right? 2-year, a 4-year, a master's, a PhD. And obviously, the data shows that on average, right, as Americans and as folks in business, the higher degree that you earn, on average, folks make more money, which is true. But one of the things I always like to preface with that, a lot of it lies within not so much the level of degree you have, but the level of job placement that you're in a given time, right? So what I mean by that is, if you're looking to get into management and you have folks that tend to make, above a certain amount of annual salary, tend to be in middle management, tend to be at an executive level, right? Which will increase and pump up those annual salary numbers. Well, guess what? Those folks usually more often than not have a 4-year degree or a master's degree, right? So we have to take that into account. And again, it goes back to that conversation, right? And so we have students that are in certain industries, such as construction, such as plumbing, such as welding, that are doing well over 6 figures, right? And in theory, could say make a lot more money than some folks that have a 4-year degree or a terminal degree, right? And so if we're talking about salary, yes, there is a difference depending on the industry. But then we have, you could work in education and have a master's degree, and yet you can have an associate's degree in certain very professionally skilled opportunities where you can be doing very, very well and potentially making more money than someone with a master's degree, especially if you start your own business. And so it is tied, but not always. And so it really depends on the industry that you're looking to get into and the type of role that you're looking to fulfill within that industry.
So Jason, we have an anonymous user here, attendee, who has a question for you. I'll let you take a sip to wet your whistle. So this person asks, we have had good success when we engage with faculty who teach in fields appropriate to our business needs, engineering and theater. We can then interact with the class members and share what we do and what we are looking for with the class members. What is the best way to identify and contact the appropriate faculty member to facilitate this?
Yeah, perfect question. And so I have a two-part answer to that. So there's really two ways if you're going to engage. I can tell you our way here at PCC, right? And so the question wasn't specific to PCC, but I can tell you at PCC, there's two ways that employers have engaged with us. Some employers will do their due diligence and go straight to the website and will find the dean of the department or faculty members, which PCC does a really good job of having all of their contact information. So if you're really interested in contacting and directly speaking to a faculty member on your own, without the middle person, so to speak, we can do that. My recommendation would be, and the way we typically do, love to do this, is if our employers and our hiring community works with us here at the Career Center, because then we can go ahead and make that introduction, and we can go ahead and have a more fruitful conversation amongst the group between the Career Center, the faculty member that we can identify, right, that could best fit what you're looking for. So if you're looking to present in a classroom, because you're absolutely right, if you have a captive audience and you have a group already within a subject matter to speak to, then you're probably going to get a better bang for your buck, so to speak, in terms of engaging a group of folks that could potentially want to work for your organization or be engaged. And so my recommendation would be, in order for you not to do all the digging around and am I talking to the right person, would be to direct that over to myself or our department and be very straightforward with your needs. Just like you said, hey, this is what I would love to do. I would love to speak to an engineering class on X, Y, and Z. We can help identify that for you, and we can find the best method to deliver that.
Okay, so we have another question here. Jean asks, can you tell me PCC's pipeline for computer science / developers? Curriculum, languages and CS classes taught, tech career fair and internship programs, and companies you've partnered or placed developers, QA engineers, product manager, data science, etc. Small startups to large companies like Disney, etc. Multiple questions there.
Yeah, it's a good question about PCC's pipeline for development. So I can't speak too much about curriculum, and I don't want to do that because then I'll leave that to our faculty and our experts. And a lot of our curriculum is actually, all of our curriculum is on the PCC's website. So if you were to go on the PCC's website, which I'm happy to guide anyone to, which what we normally do is we can show you step by step every single course you would take for every single major, and it's a laundry list there, so you can outline exactly what you're interested in. And the courses you would be taking, which is the type of research that I would ask anyone to do. In terms of who we've interacted with and where our students are working, yes, they've worked at companies such as Disney. We've had alumni that are at Northrop Grumman as well that have worked there as well. We've even had students that have worked at SpaceX as well and other organizations, and even some smaller ones here locally. And I'm looking at the Q&A here if there's something. Our STEM programs, I would be remiss not to talk about opportunities that we've had students at Caltech actually to intern and work there, and also with NASA's JPL SERI program, which is a very, very popular program. And so we're fortunate to be one of their nearest and dearest partners because of proximity, but also because of how talented our students have been. And we send a large amount of students every year to SERI's program, the SERI program at NASA JPL. That have worked there, and anywhere from at least a dozen to sometimes even upwards of maybe 20 or so students every summer through that partnership we have with them. And in particular, and I have to give them a shout out, our MESA program that works on campus that does an amazing job in working with STEM organizations locally as well to place a lot of our students, especially students that are from underrepresented communities that are looking for opportunities. And so, yeah, we can go on and have a really good conversation about the types of opportunities that we place students in that sector.
So I actually have a question for you. Based on that response, it sounds like it's very important for PCC to be fostering these partnerships and these ties with local employers, whether they're large, nationally recognized companies or even, smaller local companies. What does that typical process look like? Say someone out there is interested in forming a partnership or even just finding out, hey, I have some recruitment needs and I'm wondering if you have recent grads who fit my needs. How do they get in touch with you and what does that whole process look like?
Yes, and so the process, we try to simplify that as easy as possible. And I'm typing as we speak right now so that I don't forget. My email is on the chat there for all the attendees to see. My recommendation would be to direct any of those questions or any inquiries about partnering with us directly to me. That is one of my major responsibilities as director of the center, is to really lead some of our major partnerships with employers. We do have our job developers who you will probably be working closely and hand in hand to develop that and see that through the academic year. But contact me directly. And what we could do is we can set up a phone or Zoom meeting just like this to have a conversation, and perhaps maybe even in person to do a little bit of an intake and talk about, what are your needs? What are you looking for? What kind of opportunities there are? But we want to know about your business. We want to know about your organization. We want to know why our students should be excited as well, right, to work for your organization, because that's really, especially right now, I can tell you, there are a lot of jobs. It definitely is a buyer's market in that term for our students, where they have a lot of opportunities for them to choose from. And I can tell you that right now, the employers that have been a little bit more successful than the others in terms of attracting candidates have been the ones that do a little bit more than just post a job, right? Post a job online, put it on Indeed, or put it on even on our website. Because as much as I'd like to say that all 25,000 students are on our job board every day, they're not. We try our hardest to get them as many engaged. But when we can send out a very intentional message to a group of students that align with your needs within a program, just like someone asked a little earlier, then we can have a good group, an intimate group of students that can say, here are 12 folks interested in your engineering opportunity, 15 students that are really interested in your opportunity at your hospital. Then you can speak to them directly, and we can host that for you virtually, which we've done successfully over the last year. So it's at low cost and low time commitment, so to speak, when we can host these virtual info sessions so you can speak to the students. So won't get into the weeds with that, but I guess to keep it simple, contact me directly. If you forget my info or lose my info, I know that Kayan put on our website, on the chat, put our web link there. And we do have an employer page if you land on our website, and has all the information for the employers to contact us. But that's what it's going to look like. We'll have a conversation and we'll tailor however we can do this. And so one last thing I'll mention, you may prefer that resumes go to you directly. You may prefer that resumes come to us and then we sort through those. And so we work with you. And so the answer is whatever your preference is as a human resources professional or a business owner or hiring manager, we'll tailor this to however you would like it to be, so we can help you with your talent acquisition process.
Awesome. Sounds very hands-on, and it sounds like the untold track to get good talent into your company is to go through PCC and to contact you. And I do want to remind everybody out there also, you can reach out to Innovate Pasadena. We do have a partnership with PCC. We can put you in touch directly with Jason, so you get the inside track and you can have that one-on-one Zoom call or meeting to talk about your needs. So innovatepasadena.org or hello@innovatepasadena.org. And Jason, any last few words for folks out there as we wrap up?
First, thank you. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for those of you that are here. I'm sure if you're here, it's because you're serious about wanting to engage with PCC. So I encourage you to do that. And I encourage you to get involved. And so hopefully there are opportunities that are available for our students that are exciting. But at the same time, we'd love to see you here on campus, whether it's in person or virtually, over the next year. So let's talk and let's figure out a way that we can have you or your organization engage. And the last thing I'll say is, you may not have a job opening right this second. That's okay. Contact us anyway, because there's other ways that we can have you engage with our students in the meantime, which is always effective because it allows you to begin to brand your organization. So when you do have an opening or an opportunity, our students have you top of mind when they see your job come through. So hopefully get a chance to hear from all of you, and thank you for having me.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us today. Jason Barquero, Pasadena City College Career Center Director. And thank you for our attendees for joining us. Goodbye, everybody.
Hi, everyone.